The Apache, A History from Beginning to Present. Detailed summary by Hourly History Introduction. The Apache people have long and complex history marked by resilience, adaptability, and fierce resistance against foreign invaders. This book by Hourly History provides concise yet informative overview of their origins, way of life, conflicts, and the struggles they faced in the modern era. It traces the Apache's journey from their early existence in North America to their legendary resistance against Spanish, Mexican, and American forces, concluding with their contemporary status in the United States. Origins in early Apache society. The Apache are a group of culturally related tribes belonging to the Athabascan language family. Their ancestors are believed to have migrated from Canada to the American Southwest around 1000 C. Over centuries, they adapted to the harsh desert and mountainous terrain, developing unique survival techniques. The Apache primarily occupied present-day Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and northern Mexico. Apache society was organized into loosely affiliated bands rather than a centralized government. Each band functioned independently, making collective decisions through councils of elders and war chiefs. Apache culture revolved around hunting, gathering, and raiding. They were skilled horse riders and warriors, using guerrilla tactics to survive in a land filled with rival tribes and foreign threats. Encounters with the Spanish. 1500s-1821. The first significant European contact came in the 1500s when Spanish explorers arrived in the Southwest. The Spanish sought to establish missions and settlements, but they clashed with the Apache, who fiercely resisted colonization. The introduction of horses by the Spanish transformed Apache warfare and mobility, making them even more formidable adversaries. Throughout the 1700s, the Apache engaged in constant skirmishes with Spanish settlers, sometimes forming alliances with other native tribes or even Spanish factions when it suited their interests. The Spanish attempted to subdue them through military campaigns and forced assimilation, but the Apache proved too elusive. By the late 1700s, Spanish authorities implemented peace policy, offering food and gifts to Apache bands in exchange for peace. Whilst groups accepted the arrangement, others continued raiding settlements, particularly in Mexico, where Apache attacks were frequent and devastating. The Mexican period 1821-1848, when Mexico gained independence from Spain in 1821, they inherited the Apache problem. The Mexican government lacked the resources to control or pacify the Apache, leading to escalating violence. Mexican authorities offered bounties for Apache scalps, fueling further animosity. During this period, the Apache, particularly the Kayra bands, intensified their raids on Mex settlements. They stole cattle, horses, and supplies while engaging in brutal conflicts with Mexican forces. The instability in Mexico during the early 19th century allowed the Apache to thrive as raiders and warriors. The Apache Wars with the United States 1848-1886, the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848 ended the Mexican-American War and transferred large territories from Mexico to the United States. This shift introduced the Apache to new and even more powerful adversary. The Apache Wars, which lasted nearly 4 decades, were a series of conflicts between various Apache bands and the U.S. military. Some of the most notable figures from this period included Cochise, c. 1805-1874, leader of the Kayra Apache. Cochise fought against U.S. encroachment for years. After being falsely accused of kidnapping Boy, he waged a decade-long war against American forces. Eventually, he made peace and settled on reservation. Mangas Coloradas, c. 1793-1863. Another powerful Apache leader, Mangas Coloradas, was staunch opponent of both Mexican and American expansion. He was ultimately captured and executed by U.S. soldiers under controversial circumstances. Geronimo 1829-1909. The most famous Apache warrior, Geronimo, led band of warriors against both Mexican and American forces. His ability to evade capture for years made him legend. However, he eventually surrendered in 1886, marking the end of the Apache Wars. The U.S. military employed brutal tactics to defeat the Apache, including relentless pursuit, destruction of food supplies, and forced relocations. The capture and surrender of Geronimo symbolized the final defeat of the Apache resistance. Apache life on reservations 1886-1900. After their defeat, the Apache were forcibly removed from their ancestral lands and placed on reservations primarily in Arizona, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. Life on reservations was harsh, with poor living conditions, inadequate food supplies, and government oversight that sought to strip them of their culture. Many Apache were sent to Fort Sill in Oklahoma, where they were prisoners of war for decades. Others attempted to adapt to reservation life but faced discrimination and economic hardship. Traditional ways of life, including hunting and raiding, were no longer viable, forcing the Apache to rely on government rations. Despite these challenges, the Apache preserved their cultural heritage, passing down traditions, language, and spiritual beliefs to future generations. Modern Apache and their legacy 1900 present in the 20th and 21st centuries, the Apache gradually regained some autonomy. Many Apache tribes established tribal governments, economic enterprises, and cultural preservation initiatives. Some Apache communities benefited from natural resources on their land, while others developed businesses, including casinos, to generate revenue. Today, Apache tribes such as the White Mountain Apache, Mescalero Apache, and San Carlos Apache continue to thrive. Efforts to revitalize the Apache language and traditions remain strong, ensuring that future generations remember their rich history. The Apache legacy endures not only through their descendants, but also in popular culture, where their reputation as fierce warriors and skilled tacticians continues to be celebrated. Books, films, and historical accounts have cemented figures like Geronimo and Cochise in the American consciousness. Conclusion: the Apache story is one of endurance, resistance, and cultural survival. From their early days as nomadic warriors to their battles against European and American forces, they demonstrated remarkable resilience. Though they suffered great losses and injustices, they have preserved their identity and continue to shape their future. The Apache's history is outlined in the Apache History from Beginning to Present, serves as testament to their strength and adaptability, offering deeper understanding of one of North America's most formidable indigenous peoples.